In the fog-shrouded streets of London's nightlife, where the hum of black cabs promised safe passage home, a predator lurked behind the wheel. His name was John Worboys, a man whose unassuming facade hid a chilling double life, one that would unravel into one of Britain's most notorious serial SA offence cases, spanning deceit, violation, and a long, twisting path to justice. Born in June 1957 in the working-class suburb of Enfield, Middlesex, Worboys' early years were marked by mediocrity and unfulfilled potential. He left school with scant qualifications, drifting through menial jobs as a milkman, junior dairy manager, and security guard. Worboys' path took a salacious turn in 1987 when he began working as a stripper under the alias Terry the Minder. For over a decade, until 2000, he performed at hen parties and appeared in adult films as Paul or Tony, even renting out his flat in Poole, Dorset, as a filming location. This underworld of performance and exploitation honed his ability to charm and manipulate. He married Jean in 1991, but the union crumbled after just 4 years. Jean described Worboys as very forceful and manipulative, and said she eventually snapped and demanded a divorce, but he refused to leave. The couple separated in 1995, eventually divorcing in 1999. Disturbingly, Jean later revealed that Worboys had admitted to following a drunk woman home and essaying her while they were married, and that he would return home with mud on his trousers, claiming he had been in the bushes due to an upset stomach. Jean said she initially believed him, but later realized he was using the bushes to spy on people, acting as a peeping Tom, and discovered he had been spying on her daughters from a previous relationship as they got dressed. She recalled that one night, Worboys told her he had seen a neighbor's boy watching the girls shower, but she later realized it was Worboys himself. She also confirmed that Worboys essayed one of her daughters after their separation, a harbinger of the darkness to come. In 1996, he passed London's rigorous The Knowledge exam, qualifying him as a black cab driver, a role that granted him trust, mobility, and access to vulnerable women in the dead of night. He split his time between London and Bournemouth, stripping by evening and driving by day, all while building a facade of normalcy. But beneath this veneer, a monster emerged. From 2000 to 2008, Worboys transformed his taxi into a rolling trap. Cruising central London's bustling nightlife districts, he preyed on women heading home alone, often young professionals, students, or partygoers. His modus operandi was diabolically calculated. He'd spin a tale of sudden fortune, claiming a massive lottery or casino win, and flash a carrier bag stuffed with cash to sell the lie. "Celebrate with me," he'd urge, offering champagne laced with powerful prescription medication or over-the-counter Nitol. As the meds took hold, blurring memories and sapping resistance, he would essay his victims in the back of the cab. Some women awoke with hazy recollections of violation, others found bruises, missing items, or unexplained substances in their system. He meticulously planned these attacks, triggered in part by a 2005 to 2006 relationship breakdown that allegedly fueled his need for control. Police later estimated over 100 victims during his 13-year driving career. The horrors unfolded in a grim timeline. In 2000 to 2002, early victims like Deborah and Fiona were medicated and essayed, one with a suspicious feminine hygiene product disappearance, and traces of Nitol in her urine, all clues that went unheeded. By 2006 to 2007, the assaults escalated. A 25-year-old fought off his advances, a journalist blacked out after spiked champagne, a 22-year-old endured aggression for refusing a drink. In one harrowing night in July 2007, he assaulted Carrie Simmons, the now wife of the former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Carrie waved anonymity and recalled how she'd been waiting for a bus when Worboys pulled up in his taxi and offered her a ride home for £5, because he lived in her direction. This was a lie. Once in the cab, Carrie was subjected to the same well-practiced routine that Worboys used on his unsuspecting victims, claiming he had won big at a casino. Thankfully, Carrie poured the champagne on the floor of his cab without having a sip as she sensed danger. "I felt indebted to him because he had given me a cheap lift home. But when I got the glass I secretly poured it onto the floor as I was worried it might be spiked," she told the Telegraph newspaper in March 2009. The vile essay attacker told Carrie a story of a woman who performed an adult act for £250, and asked if she would consider doing the same. Having noticed the spiked champagne had not worked, Worboys stopped the taxi and got in the back to join her. Despite Carrie's pleas that she was young and needed to get home, Worboys challenged her to down a shot of vodka for £50 and a free lift home. Carrie was incredibly uncomfortable, but felt indebted to Worboys for picking her up and thought he was a sad loser. "I downed it, which was stupid, as I just wanted to get home. From that point on I can't really remember what happened," she explained. He seemed to be this sad man who had no one to celebrate with him. I pitied him, I didn't feel frightened, I just thought he was weird. Carrie has no memory of the rest of the journey home, and does not know for certain what Worboys did to her. When she got home, Carrie collapsed in front of her mum while vomiting and laughing hysterically, before passing out until 3 p.m. the next day. That same month, a 19-year-old student from Greenwich was medicated with a pill, assaulted whilst unconscious, and left with physical evidence that finally sparked police action, though initially dismissed. Into 2008, the pattern continued: exposures, assaults, and essays, including a new mother who awoke disoriented and a teenager who lost consciousness mid-ride. The net closed on February 15, 2008, when Worboys' final known attack, on a woman who refused his champagne, but took 3 sips from a cup before deciding to stop, as she was uncomfortable with the stranger. Despite not consuming the spiked champagne, she lost all memory of the journey from the curbside to her flat. She woke up the next morning in her bed, with her hands crossed over her chest and bedclothes untouched, with signs that she had been medicated and possibly assaulted. This incident led to his rearrest. CCTV from earlier incidents had identified his cab, but prior reports were bungled. A July 2007 arrest for the student's assault ended in bail and a dropped case, with police crediting his banter over her claims. This time, evidence mounted like a dam breaking. A search of his Fiat Punto car revealed a SA kit, champagne, gloves, a torch, intimate massages, rubbers, sleeping tablets, and an ashtray for crushing meds. DNA on stained female underwear, a wristband, and a victim's address in his notebook sealed his fate. Charged initially with attacks on 5 women, the count swelled to 14 victims as more came forward. Worboys' trial at Croydon Crown Court in January 2009 was a spectacle of denial. Pleading not guilty to 23 counts, he claimed consensual banter born from a neglected childhood. But on March 13, 2009, the jury convicted him of 6 essays, 1 attempted assault, and 12 counts of medicating with intent, all crimes from 2007 to 2008. He was sentenced on April 21, 2009 to an indeterminate imprisonment for public protection, IPP, with a minimum of 8 years, and he was banned from ever driving passengers for profit again. His appeal failed in 2010. John Worboys was given an IPP sentence because he was deemed a serious and ongoing threat to the public, despite his crimes not warranting a life sentence. The IPP was introduced in 2003 to address dangerous offenders whose actions were not severe enough for a life sentence, but who still posed a significant risk to the public. The sentence was intended to protect the public, not to serve as a de facto life sentence, though it was widely criticized for being misused and eventually abolished in 2012, with the change not applied retroactively to Worboys. Justice, however, was far from done. By 2010, 102 more complaints surfaced, identifying 19 additional victims. Systemic failures emerged. From 2002, 14 similar reports were ignored by the Metropolitan Police, with officers mocking victims, assuming the cab driver's innocence. This led to a damning Independent Police Complaints Commission inquiry, upholding complaints against 5 officers, who somehow managed to keep their jobs, and prompting a centralized unit for serial SA offenders. In 2014, 2 victims won £41,250 from the Metropolitan Police for human rights violations. The Worboys saga twisted further in prison. He admitted offenses to psychologists in 2015 and completed SA offender treatment programs. Parole hearings loomed. Denied in 2015 to 2017 due to high risk, he shockingly won approval for release in November 2017 under strict conditions. Weekly reporting, no victim contact, and a 10-year license. Renaming himself John Derek Radford, his impending freedom in January 2018 ignited outrage. Victims were blindsided, and the parole board chair resigned amid apologies. A high court challenge quashed the decision in March 2018, keeping him behind bars. The drama peaked in 2019. Charged on May 1 with 4 more offenses from 2000 to 2008, Worboys, now Radford, pleaded guilty in June to medicating with intent for SA. On December 17, he received 2 life sentences with a minimum of 6 years. His appeal failed in February 2021, with the Lord Chief Justice affirming the gravity of his crimes. As of 2026, he remains incarcerated, his minimum terms long served, but his risk deemed too great for release. He is scheduled to have a public parole hearing on June 9 and 10, 2026, where a decision will be made on whether he is safe for release. The Worboys now Radford individual is a symbol of predatory betrayal and the arduous fight for accountability. In the end, the black cab that once prowled London's shadows now stands as a stark reminder: trust can be the deadliest illusion. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and if you'd like more true crime, please like and subscribe and turn on the notifications.